Hey, hello everybody, it's me Chris at Prime for our Friday chat as usual. So today we've got there's a few boxing shows on here in the UK. We've got one in Glasgow which is for the WBC featherweight title. Nathaniel, I can put my teeth back in. Nathaniel Collins and Cristobal Lorente from Spain. Collins is good solid kid, European champion. Lorente, he's boxed and put up a good show for the European title a couple of times, so it's going to be a good fight, that one. The undercard, there's some interesting fights on that. Royston Barney Smith is on against Conor McIntosh. I would think Royston's a good top prospect, 15-0. A little bit of a test for him, but I think he'll come through it. Then we've got Dylan Arbuckle against Nico Lavars. Now, Lavars was a prospect at one time, and he seems to be on the away side for this one, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Could be an interesting fight. And then, yes, I know. And then we've got Dylan. Sorry, what's it? I'm trying to look at my notes here. It's Ashton Brown. Now Ashton, he was a top Scottish international amateur. Had a few problems with drugs and things, and he's come back. He's 35 now, and he's 9-0. So he's in a rush to get somewhere. He's a good, solid middleweight. And he's matched with Sam Gilly, who's on the comeback. Now, Sam's a tough lad as well, so I'm not sure what. He's normally A-side, not an away fighter. So this looks a good show tonight in Glasgow. I believe Alicia Baumgartner is boxing as well in America tonight. Or it'll be tomorrow morning for us. On to tomorrow, we've got a show in Liverpool here at the arena. It was meant to be one of the Smith brothers, but he's pulled out injured. It was going to be an interesting contest, that. So Ben Whittaker against Suarez is top of the bill now. Where are you going? Then we've got the McGrail brothers, both super bantamweights. So we've got Peter against somebody called Mansilla. He was beaten in his last fight for was it the British title, Peter, and I thought he was hard done to. I thought he just nicked it, but there you go. His brother is a bit heavy-handed, Joe. You'll see him. He's boxing Hayden. And then we've got Molly McCann. She's on as well. So that will be, I think it's a third fight, isn't it? So she's still learning the difference between pro boxing and MMA. And then, strangely enough, up in the northeast, I think it is, there's another little show on, and it's Ebony Bridges against Ebony Cotton. Now, Ebony Bridges, she's a former world champion at bantamweight. She's 39 now, and I think this is the first fight since she had the baby in it. So we've seen Ebony Cotton before. She has a go. She's not as experienced. She's only had 3 fights, won 2, lost 1. So I think they're all on the zone. Watch them if you like. And decent shows until next week. Now, I've been talking to you about boxers I've worked with in the past. This week, I'm going to talk about my friend Courtney Fry. Now, Courtney he was a top amateur. He won national elite titles. He was the England #1 at 81 kilo light heavyweight. He won European silver medal against the world #1, Lebzyak from Russia, which wasn't, you know, as you know, beating the Russian #1s in the world, you know, was nothing easy. Then he qualified for the Sydney Olympics, but went out in the first round to somebody he'd beaten before, which was a bit strange, but you know the way these top amateur tournaments are, it could be, you know, strange decisions happen, I don't know. And then he was a Commonwealth Games gold medalist from Kuala Lumpur, and then he boxed in the Manchester Commonwealth Games along with a few of our boxers. Now, before the Commonwealth Games came up, we had a meeting with Frank Warren in his office, and he signed 2 of our boxers. First one was Gary Davis, who ended up being British bantamweight champion, and he did a deal with Courtney. He said to Courtney, if you go to the Commonwealth Games, win a gold medal, we'll give you X amount to turn professional with us per fight. If you don't win the gold medal, we'll pay you, we'll still sign you, but pay a little bit less. So that was the deal. Courtney went out in the quarter-final, I think, to a Nigerian who we never heard of again. He was supposed to be some African superstar, and he disappeared off the planet. I don't know if he won he boxed Joey Vegas in the final, I think. And Joey Vegas actually won. He ended up staying here and turning pro. Now, shortly after that, with the disappointment of Courtney not winning any medals this time at the Commonwealth Games, he was being asked and courted by Audley Harrison, who'd set up his own promotion company with the BBC to promote his own gold medal win at the Olympics. I don't know what you're trying to do here, but sit still. And Courtney asked me, he said, can I get out of that contract with Frank Warren because I want to sign with Audley? And there was a few strange things going on with Audley Harrison at the time anyway, and we advised him not to do it. Frank released him from the contract type thing, and he had a few fights with Audley. Now, things didn't really go too well. As we all know, Audley Harrison messed things up for everybody, to be honest. Because of the disappointment, he signed £1 million contract with the BBC to put all his fights on professional shows, and they flopped. And in the end, Audley got found that although he's an Olympic gold medalist, he didn't suit the pro game. He just wasn't good enough as a pro. Couldn't win a British title, let alone the world title. He was promising the BBC, and the BBC ended up, I think they got out of the contract and fired him off, and everybody had to look for new promoters. So Courtney came back with us. I trained him, I managed him. Sanagar Promotions signed him. Didn't suit again. He was promised a shot at the British title if he kept winning by Mr. Sanagar, but they had other light heavyweights ranked below, and they managed to reposition those above Courtney for title shots. So we ended up getting out of that contract because it was, you know, he boxed an eliminator for the British title against, but we were the away fighter, which was strange, against a kid called Tony Salem, who'd won national amateur championships, and he was going to knock Courtney out and he was going to do this. So, and we had to go down to the York Hall in London, and Courtney was, although he was a very quiet chap, he didn't take kindly to being threatened and being told he was going to get knocked out, and he went on to stop Tony Salem and finished his career basically. Nobody took him on after that. So the British title fight never materialised. We parted ways with Mr. Sanagar. Got pictures up here of it all, on Courtney's record, and we struggled to get Courtney fights, not because of his reputation and his pedigree and all that. He wasn't really a ticket seller. He was hard. Because he was such a quiet chap, media wise, he didn't sell a lot of tickets. So I'm talking to promoters to get him on and saying he's number one for the British title, blah blah blah. It didn't happen. And to be honest, we'd get fights in London. Now Courtney was born and bred in London, and he settled in Liverpool with his first partner, who's got some sons too. That's how we came about. And I've got a little bit of family in London, and I would sell more tickets for my family and friends in London to come and watch me work his corner, rather than Courtney would sell tickets to his friends and family, which was a bit weird. Nothing, it wasn't Courtney's fault, it just wasn't his thing, selling tickets. Now, shortly after that, as you know, I used to get on really well with the original Matchroom, and they were putting on one of them, they were putting on a prize fighter show at light heavyweight. I got a call, would I be interested in putting Courtney on it? He fancied him as the favourite, so we did. We went in, we'd done it. Went down to, again, that was at the York Hall. The first round draw, we got Tony Oki. He was the former British and WBU world champion and stuff like that. A bit of a brawler, but these over 3 rounds we thought it'd suit Courtney, and he'll just pick him apart, which he did do. But there was a clash of heads, and he got a really bad cut over the eye. I'm talking to the doctor's going, he's not going to be able to box in the next round with that eye. And I said, just give us a chance. And I said, if it opens up badly and starts to bleed badly, I'll pull him out myself. And as I'm talking to the doctor's going, okay then, as long as you do that, I'll defer to your experience. Somehow it got given to Tony Oki, which was a weird decision. Everyone was baffled by it, because he just had his head picked off for 3 rounds. But that wasn't the story at the end of the night. It was weird all over. It was weird all over, with strange decisions and other people, and that's what happened. You know, it was a strange one. The only reason I was thinking we'll get to the next round, you got 5,000 for going out in the first round. The beaten semi-finalist, which was the quarters, the beaten semi-finalist would get 8,000. The beaten finalist would get 10,000, and the winner would get 25,000 at the time. So I'm just thinking, well, at least we get a little bit extra money by getting through to the next round, which, well, in the end it didn't matter anyway, it didn't materialise. So we carried on, going on little shows here and shows there, and then eventually I got a call off Frank Warren again, and for the British and Commonwealth title at the York Hall again. But by that time Courtney was getting on, and he was, as a trainer you can see when your fighter's on the slide, and I'm thinking, he's not what he was last year, definitely what he was the year before. He did turn over late, he was about 26, 27 when he turned pro, and anyway, we took the fight against the future world champion, 6th round. I seen something that I'd never seen before. Courtney took a shot, and he wobbled a little bit, Now he could take a shot, Courtney, and I'd never seen him wobble once before. He came, I think, fifth round, end of the fifth round. He came in, and I went, "You okay?" And he says, "I felt that one." I said, "I know you did." I said, "I'm not going to let you get hurt." I said, "And if you get wobbled again, I'm going to stop it, mate." Because we were good friends, you know. And he said, "Yeah, not a problem." So halfway through the next round, he got caught on the ropes again, and I ended the fight. You know, put the towel up, and referee accepted the retirement, and we were back in the gym. And I said, "Look, I've got to go and have an operation on my knee. I think it's about time, you know. What do you think? Do you think it's time to call it?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I think you're right. I've been boxing a long time now. He'd had about 20 odd pro fights, you know, 20, 21. And he thought, okay, I'll call time on it." So I didn't see him in the gym ever again, to be honest. A little while later, he tried to come back with somebody, and he had a few fights, and I think he got another 7 losses and 6 wins lower down the thing. He ended up fighting Roy Jones in Moscow. Didn't do him no favours. He was up at cruiserweight. He was never a cruiserweight. I mean, if you look at the weights on BoxRec when he fought for the British title against Nathan Cleverly, he ended up being the world champion. He weighed in really light for that. I mean, sometimes he'd be 4 or 5 pounds under the light heavy limit when he weighed in. So boxing at cruiserweight was not going to do him any favours. Boxing Roy Jones at cruiserweight, even though he was a shadow of the former Roy Jones, was still a bit much. And he was stopped with that one as well. So that's one of my other fighters, Courtney Fry. I've put a few pictures up here of him and his BoxRec record. Have a look. Hopefully next week we'll have some deliveries. I'm sick of waiting. But there you go, that's the way things go. Have a nice weekend, and I'll see you next week.